Hey, you there. Thank you for watching, and welcome to Forge Alliance Forever. Today, I have a 5v5 custom match here on the most amazing Neuroxys map generator. Let's go ahead and introduce our teams and our players, starting off with Team 1 in the northwest, ending with Team 2 in the southeast. Starting off with Team 1 Southern player, working way northward, we have in forest green, the commander of Literal. He is an Aeon, and he is a 1500. To his north, we have in ruby red, XXXXXX. X. I think I said 6 X's. Maybe I said 5 or 7 or something like that. Anyway, it is 6X. He is a UEF. He is a 1400. To his north in emerald green is sorcery. As a Cybran for this match, he is a 1300. And to his west in amethyst purple is Akira 13. He is an Aeon, and he is a 1400. And last but not least, a 14-1 in the north. It is the highest rated player, or at least tied for the highest rated player on Team 1 with a Literal. It is Spectre Slave 137. He is a Seraphim, as again a 1500 in Chevy Crimson. So for Team 1 side of the map, they have 1 UEF, 1 Seraphim, 1 Cybran, and 2 Aeon, which means Team 1 has all of the factions represented on their side of the map. Starting off with Team 1 Southern player, working way northward. He's already on the move to the western. He is in Rust. He is Legends Lore 2 as a Cybran, as a 1500. To his northeast in Light Oak Tan is Unique. He is a UEF, and he is a 1300. To his west in Orange Color Orange is the 1100 of Dominic De Coco. He is again a 1100 as in Aeon. And to his north in Pac-Man Yellow is RGB VCMG, and of course RGB for short. He is a UEF for this match, and he is a 1300. And last but not least, for Team 2, the highest rated player on their team and in the game overall, it is XBOCT. He is an Aeon for this match, and he is in glow in the dark green. So for Team 2 side of the map, they have 2 UEF and 2 Aeon and 1 Cybran, which means Team 2 lacks Seraphim technology. And for 10 players on the map, let's take a look at how much reclaim they have. Currently sitting at 10,000 mass in reclaim, so it's a little bit over 1,000 mass per player, and really it's dotted everywhere. I mean, there's a couple of 200s and 300s kind of around these middle sections, but there's a lot of mass on the way there to the middle. So it's not really going to be just a mad dash to get to the middle to scoop up, 1,000 or 1,200 or whatever clump of mass. It's really just going to be just either get to that midpoint, get the reclaim, and then reclaim behind you, or just like slowly move forward. Usually we see a mix of both, but I think in this match, I think it'll just be just reclaim as much as you can. Like every other game it is, just get as much mass as possible. And for mass points on the map, I'm going to cut the map down right down that diagonal. So right where XBOCT is going for his quad mix position right here, that's going to be the cut on that side of the map. And for Team 1 side of the map, we have a quad mix position over here for Literal to grab, a Trimex position right in the front of 6X. We do see that Trimex has already been grabbed by Sorcery here, and another quad mix opposite of XBOCT over here. It looks like it's going to Spectre Slave. It looks like Akira is kind of not going to be having a lot of mexes to his name, but might get donated a couple of mexes as the game progresses. We do see a couple of raiding units outbound here from Sorcery going after XBOCT. Does kill off a T1 mex. It is immediately rebuilt, so that loss in mass is annoying, but it's not that terribly hurting his pocketbook. But let me know, of course, who you think is going to currently win. Usually I ask you 20 minutes or so, but it's always nice to say, hey, let me know, just pick a random team, flip a coin, pick a number, odd, even, whatever the case may be. Let me know down in the comments who you think is going to currently win this game. We do see that, of course, Team 2's Legend Lore is pushing in on this southern side, moving in, almost going to be able to grab that little dual mex position that's over here next to this little line of mexes there for Literal, who's already grabbing that set of mexes. Couple more units poking and prodding on Team 2's front line now, going after RGB. He's actually gone for a UEF naval facility, and I was going to mention at some point that, I mean, this body of water isn't terribly placed. It is in the middle of the map, makes it a little more effective than being on the edges, but I don't know if the cruisers will have that much of a range. We'll have to get somebody on Team 2 or Team 1 to build a cruiser to get the exact range for the missile launcher capability. But if I were to guess, maybe you could hit this, 4 land facility position over here. But I don't think it's going to get deeply into Team 1's territory. Probably, like I said, right about there would be as far as I would guess it would go, just offhand. T2 coming on the way here for Legend Lore in the south. We do have opposite gun upgrades here for 6X and for XB, sorry, not XB, but RGB. We do see that this one is already at 60% for Team 2, so that one will finish first. We do see forces from XBOCT, speaking of which, pushing in on the northern edge, going after Spectre Slaves facilities that have just been built. He's getting a T1 PD online, and the thing is can he get it online to prevent the Auroras? And yes, he will, and it will force back those Auroras from XBOCT. A couple of some artillery units inbound. These Zuris on the transport, and it is being currently shot at, but they do drop, and there's actually a couple of THAMs in there as well, so offering some protection for those forces. Unfortunately for them, they get wiped out by those Auroras still sitting there, but it does look like more forces from Sorcery are moving in to assist with defense. Gun speed has been started for Literal in the west, and large group of Team 1 units is inbound from 6X. T2 is almost done for Dominic, and yeah, he can go for some T2 PD, but I don't know if that will be effective against that many T1 forces. There are a decent amount of Lobos in the mix, and of course some Strikers, so a mix of going after units and structures. Large group of units going on the southern side here against Legend Lore from Team 1's Literal. We do see that there's kind of a cliffside preventing some easy kills here for that Cerberus PD. But there is, of course, the longer range on board the Cerberus. Cerberus still striking at the ground, not targeting the other units that actually can be shot at without any sort of impediments from the environment. And those forces start to overrun Dominic's position. He builds a PD, a T2 one at that, and gets immediately destroyed. Gets probably a couple of kills from it. That's about it. Dominic doesn't have any sort of gun upgrades online, but of course he does have T2, so a couple thousand additional hit points on board that commander. Definitely will shake off some early damage from his opponents. And Team 1 6X is going to continue to pressure forward, actually move his comm forward, and maybe actually just grab this Trimex position and just get some reclaim, or just try to keep that for himself. We do see a counterattack mounting in the north here from Team 2. It looks like I'm going to start splitting the screen here so we can see what's going on in both fields of war. We do see in the south, of course, 6X has now stopped and is grabbing this quad mech position. Dominic has now retreated due to the fact that there are still those units inbound from 6X, and now we see RGB is in the yellow. Has to be very careful here going after Sorcery, who's also in the yellow and has a gun upgrade on board, but now Sorcery is outnumbered quite significantly, and looks like this will be the first kill of the game here for Team 2. T2 Mex does block a couple of shots from RGB's commander, but now that Sorcery's in the red, I think it's only going to be a matter of time here before he bites the dust. We do see that these forces from 6X are actually going after RGBCMG's position, and Team 1 Sorcery makes it out of there. Looks like RGB kind of just let him escape, doesn't want to gift over another base to his opponent or somebody else on Team 1. Right now, a couple of Stingers have been built by Unique to deal with these incoming forces. They could have gone north, but looks like they've diverted southward to go after Dominic, but there is a couple of PDs now online, and of course some gunships that's really going to stop this push. And the forces from Literal were dealt with earlier on, but now we see that Legend Lore is essentially completely, not necessarily surrounded, but is essentially cut off for the most part from his own forces and from any sort of help from Team 2. He really needs to punch through these forces kind of starting to stage over here. They are going after this group of forces here for Legend Lore, so in a couple of seconds I wouldn't be surprised if he just sends them in. He sends them in and push in. Apologies for that. Of course, I moved my mouse over and yeah, click by accident, and I Alt-Tab essentially, which is the only frustrating thing. That this is one of those games where if you do like click off of screen, it just doesn't keep the game on the screen. It's kind of one of those older games in that kind of sense. Obviously, newer games you can click off screen and it doesn't just Alt-Tab the game. But anyway, do apologize for that brief little cut in the in the video, but hopefully that will not deter you from continuing to watch, of course. T1's Calm of Sorcery going for the nano upgrade. He desperately needs it. He's back up in the yellow, to be fair, but he has to be very careful. His opponent of RGB is on 2-star veterancy, almost on 3, and is at a gun upgrade as well. More raiding units outbound from Spectre Slave. A lot of T2, actually, some Yenzin pushing back his opponent of XBOCT on this eastern side. He's fallen back here to try to secure that quad mech's position. Nano Repair is almost done for Sorcery. And in the south, again, more units outbound from Team 1's Literal, trying to cut off Legend Lore. Legend Lore is still just undaunted, just hanging out, building some PD, built some TMD as well to protect himself from missile attacks. But this is still a lot of pressure mounting from Team 1, not primarily from the commander of Literal, but specifically for 6X over here. He still has the Trimex position, sorry, Quad Mech position. He's not letting Team 2 get that back anytime soon. And speaking of ecos, it's about tied here between both of these teams. There's the odd reclaim or power outage or whatever the case may be, but it's pretty much dead even in that mass income department. We do see that's partly due to the fact that RGB VCMG has actually grabbed this Quad Mech position. Don't know why I want to keep saying Trimex, and trying to prevent Sorcery from grabbing it. So we have counter denying of mexes here from our players in the middle of the map here. You see a couple of gunships outbound for Unique, but they're now getting shot out of the sky by some interceptors, and interceptors move in without assisting the gunships, which means that one will be shot down, and the other one might be fine. Shield coming online the way here for Little. He hasn't gone for the advanced range upgrade, but he has at least the speed and the range upgrades, so he can at least fight at a normal range that other gun upgrades can fire from other factions. Can we just quit, says Legend Lord? No, don't just quit. You gotta continue to play the game. We're only 13 minutes in. This game goes on a lot longer for that. This one hasn't done anything yet. Says, I don't know who he's talking about. Is he talking about his other teammate? Please scout. Says Legend against Literal's position. He might be talking to his teammate of Unique possibly, but he's actually gone for T3 Air now. And his mirror in the northwest has also grabbed T3 Air. So both teams have T3 Air technology online. And I don't see anybody else on Team 1 or on Team 2 for that matter that has any sort of T2 air facility as a backup air player. But we do see that more units outbound from Spectre Slave have come in and gone completely around the commander of XBOCT and is now going after the Nexus here and some other facilities. This is not great here for Team 2 on this eastern side. A couple of gunships are inbound from Team 1. Sakura going after RGBVCMG's commander. There is no way to hop into the water here, which means he has to just walk back. Interceptors already on station, but ASFs have been called to assist as well. It looks like RGB is being ignored, but now that all the AA units have been dealt with, looks like they're going to target the commander once again. Flak cannons are now inbound as well. I think he should be fine. He is sitting at 3-star veterancy, so he's sitting at 15,000 hit points, a little bit more than that. And those Spectre gunships are being whittled down decently quickly. There's some interceptors constantly throwing in the mix here from 2 players on Team 2 just to try to help protect the commander of RGB. But RGB, again, is falling into the almost reds, the low yellows, and is given a lot of surge of momentum here for Team 1 on this eastern side from Sorcery. And now it looks like Team 2's XBOCT is going to be surrounded. We do see those forces outbound from Spectre actually continue to push in, but it doesn't look like they're going to get any more work done, unfortunately for them, just due to the fact that there's really nothing between where they were and where they got to. We do see more gunships are being brought forward, but now that RGB has some more AA and now a shield nearby, those gunships aren't really going to be as effective as they once were. In the south, we do see Literal pushing in against Legend Lore's position. And again, Legend Lore technically is quote-unquote behind the line of Literal. We do see some PD trying to tickle at that commander. Of course, they've dropped his shield capacity to almost 4,000 so far. But again, those tickle cannons don't really do a lot of damage per shot. They're good for their purposes, but they're not the best T2 PD by far in the game. GG, says Legend Lore. Is he just going to run into his opponent and die, it looks like? 6X says GG. Maybe he had to go. I really don't know. The Morons won't concede says Legend Lore. So it looks like he just wants to end the game or quit the game, whatever the case may be. So he's going to go up in a blaze of glory. He's dropping into the yellow. And there he goes. Control case right on top of that commander. Kills off all the nearby units. And it is now a 5v4 in favor of Team 1. We do see that, of course, now with Legend Lore's departure, it'll probably go to XBOCT and then possibly donated to either Unique or Dominic. I feel like it might just even stay in the hands of XBOCT at this point. What was this Dominic moron? Made 0 units, no intel, and did nothing. I wouldn't say did nothing. He just got shoved back by 6X. Let me know in the comments if you agree with Legend Lore's opinion about Dominic's position. We do see that he has gone for T2 air now. He doesn't have any land facilities, which is definitely interesting. I don't know what his focus on. He is sitting at 118 mass per second. So he's doing decently well in the eco department, but you know, of course, there is a player on Team 1 just holding position of 6X. He has the quad mech position under his control and is pushing with a gun, shield, and T2 commander against Unique. He's getting some clink hammers online, and this Comet's freaking out because he's too close to that artillery emplacement. Just doesn't want to keep jittering. He took too much coffee and just can't stop jittering over there. You see in the east, Sorcery going after XBOCT's commander, but we do see those T3 Harbingers are online, and they're targeting all of the units nearby. Sorcery is dropping into the yellow and now dropping really, really quickly here. Harbingers are blitzing him down. Will XBOCT go for the kill? No. Veterancy does end up assisting Sorcery from not dying here. Killing him only helps the other team, says Legend Lore. So it looks like, you know, Legend Lore is still in the game from beyond the grave, helping out from in the chair, the arm, not the armchair, but the man behind the curtain position. And again, XBOCT not engaging. He has sensor and T2 on board. Doesn't have gun. We can see that this is a large section of the map that he can see. That is the one benefit of having that sensor package. It gives you a lot of vision, even on a 20x20, which this isn't a 20x20 to be fair. It gives you a decent percentage of the map to just see all the time. We do see again Sorcery still being peppered, but now being forced into a corner over here. Looks like he's continuing to move in this direction. And there are more units coming in from Speculative Slave to alleviate the pressure from his teammate. We do see that the Harbinger is actually ignoring the comm, any sort of units from the north moving in to Sorcery's frontline T2 land facility position. Eventually those Rhinos will whittle down the HP and the shields on board the Harbingers, but it's going to be a while just because there's not that many units nearby. There is a transport inbound from Akira to assist, I'm assuming, Sorcery. Sorcery is now back in the high yellows at 4-star veterancy. Of course, he has the nano comm, or nano upgrade at least, to assist his regen capabilities, which is partly the reason why he's still alive. And now we do see that the Governor-class cruisers are online for Team 2, and yeah, if they would have put one right about there, they would pretty much get these facilities right there. But no main bases are under threat from the Governors at the moment. Well, actually at all. We could maybe see some T3 battleships that have a little bit more range, but I don't think that's really worth the mass cost, considering we've seen other games where that's going. But Team 2 is able to defend against 6X. 6X just charged in with all of his forces, suiciding to give base. Oh no, that's what, wow, okay, Legend Lore 2 just says he's suicided to give base, which I guess kind of would make sense because why he walked that far forward. There was an artillery still online. Tried to go after Unique. Unique is still alive, but his base is just gone. We do see that Literal gains control of everything in the south now. And now this game's a 4v4, definitely shaping up to be a different game. Only chance, that's what I did. Radar says Legend Lore down there. We do see that some forces are mounting here for Literal on the southern side now, going after just an edge play, or edge running. One way to put it, just on that southern edge of the map, going after whatever they can in that regard. We do see that the attack has started to mitigate at least a bit, but look at this. Look at all these Harbingers just hanging out over here, and the Calm of Sorcery's right there. Team 2 can't see him right now, but they know he's roughly in the area. And the Harbingers are nearby, just running around, having some fun times. Harbingers do break through that T2 land facility, and a couple of those mechs are surrounding it, and now going after more just spam facilities here for Sorcery, continuing to push in. Looks like they might try to grab this quad mech position up here and just try to take out as much eco as they can. We do see that again. Team 1 is producing right around the same mass as Team 2, 640, 630, 650. The numbers keep changing. We do see that the total destruction of this base in the south is underway here by just the total encapsulation of the base by Team 1's forces from Literal. A couple of Cerberus PD are here. They may get a Harbinger kill. May. And that Harbinger is dropping decently fast, but there's only one Cerberus. Will it survive? No, it will not get the kill, unfortunately, for it. And there is a brick nearby, but one brick is not going to stop the amount of Mongoose and Harbinger and Percy and everything else that's over here. Threat. Looks like the bricks have noticed that and have started to fall back. Nano coming online here for RGB in the middle. And the ping is going down. Don't really know what's going on here. Looks like Unique's going for an upgrade. Maybe gun. It is on his left. It is on his left arm. I think, no, maybe that's the engineering suite. No, I think that's the engineering suite possibly being upgraded on board that command. I can probably actually race back and try to find it, but good luck with doing that sometimes because messages keep pulling the chat back down. But anyway, I think he's going for engineering suite in there. I think that's what he's going for. That would be, of course, Unique over there in the south. And still, gunships proving very useful here for Team 1's Akira, just pushing back against these raiding Harbinger units. Doesn't look like they were able to get to that Trimex position, sorry, Quad Mex position. And there are mexes offline, though. Team 1's Little has diverted a little bit more attention to going after these TML launchers on board these cruisers. Doesn't look like there's that many being built. It's just, a couple of engineers, not really a lot of focus on them, but it does provide some AA nearby to protect against some spy planes inbound to get some radar signatures. Large group of T2 and T3 units moving in on Unique's position. We do see some reinforcements from RGB moving in to defend. And, of course, some bricks moving in to cut off any sort of avenue of attack this way, forcing the units to either go north or engage them, or just go south and just or go west and just say, okay, we don't want to fight you anymore. But, of course, the bricks have more hit points than the combined shield and hull hit points on board those Harbingers, which means pretty much this is a one-sided battle here. Maybe a brick or two will die, maybe, but I don't think that's going to be the case, especially at this point. Those units are continuing to pressure. They're trying to get to this Quad Mex position here for Unique, but I don't think that's going to happen, especially with the units just pausing as they are. And in this game, again, Team 1 has 4 players left, losing 6x to, a run into Team 2's base and dying. And, of course, Legend Lord Control K earlier on. That means it's a 4v4 tied-up game here. Let me know down in the comments at this moment in the game at 23 minutes and 48 seconds who you think is going to currently win the game. Of course, if you haven't done so already, like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so very much for watching. I really appreciate it. And we are, of course, every single day making our way to now 400 casts. It's going to be in a couple of days. I think it'll be Monday, if I did my math correctly about when each of these videos will release. It'll be Monday, the 400th special. Hopefully everybody will tune in for that. Again, thank you so much for all the support. I really do appreciate it. And of course, I'm going to go for another 400 as long as I can. Or I will continue to do so until either, of course, the internet dies, the servers crash and can no longer be rebooted, whatever. Those are really the only two ways that I would pretty much stop doing FAFcasts. We do see a couple of units for Team 1's Spectre Slave just here. They're just sitting here. They're not doing anything. They're just hanging out in Team 2's base. And they're like, I wonder if they see us. So they probably do. They got pinged, and they are moving, and they're going to go after some T3 mexes that are single ringed. Yeah, I'm a pro, very sneaky. Yeah, Spectre Slave, you are very sneaky with your 2 Yenzine going after some mass storages. And of course, the mass storages don't offer that much besides just obviously increasing the bar capacity. But of course, it does cut out a couple of these mass per second capability. You see some bombers overhead. It will EMP them for a little bit. I don't think that T3 Mex is under threat, especially with the Ravager that was just built. Yeah, but it was a nice attempt, though. He knocked off technically 5 mass a second with a couple of Yenzi, and I think he'll definitely be happy about that, or at least they did something kind of thing. Large group of units here for Spectre Slave in the northeast, and a decent amount here for Literal as well. Looks like he's not focusing as much attention on the southern side as he is on the north. He thinks that pushing on the north side would be a lot better for himself, especially because there's a large force over here already. A couple of sniper bots just trying to, again, clean the way here for the units to continue to pressure on this eastern side of the map. I want a 5-star comm, says Sorcery. He's moving his comm in. I mean, he's only 500 or so mass to that 5-star veterancy, so he's almost there. Anyway, GC is done here for Legend Lore. I mean, it's almost done. I don't know if we saw another one, which I don't think there is, but it looks like that's going to be the first experimental that I see currently. Looks like some mass fab farming here for Dominic. He's gone for some ARAS on board that commander, and Unique did go for the T3 engineering suite. That is the upgrade that he did go for. But this attack is mounting. It's getting very, very close here. A decent amount of Harbingers waiting to engage. I would love to see some more Perseus on the front line here for RGB. He does have a decent amount being 3. Definitely needs a lot more than that, but he does have a couple of Spearheads and a decent amount of Titans. But this is a large group of units here for Team 1. Looks like Sorcery is falling back now. Get T3 Mech Spectre. Says Sorcery. I don't really know what he means by that, but maybe he's talking about, upgrading the T3 mechs is maybe what he's talking about in his main base. There is just a random T2 mechs in his base, because why not? There's actually a couple of them. But he has other T3 mechs over here. Don't really know his upgrading priorities, but it wouldn't be that bad to just finish off the T3 mechs upgrades in his base first. We do see that GC is completed, and we'll move south. So it looks like, again, the main force is over here for Literal, and the southern force is going to be augmented by a nice little giant, tall eye laser boy from the Aeons. We do see more and more cruisers just being built here for RGB, and of course, the missiles are great. They target at units that are, they're best at units or structures that don't move, and hitting moving targets is very difficult for missiles, because they fire at where they were, not where they're going. And that slowly moving army trying to stay in formation. I love to see it. It's very difficult just because it just takes so long for the units to move. PD, says RGB, and XBOCT definitely needs some more PD. And he's building some more AA, but now he's building some PD behind him. And he has a nice little SMD as well to boot. And it looks like those cruisers are just shoving these units away from Literal, at least forcing them at least to the east a little bit. Looks like they're trying to go after and group up with Spectre Slaves forces and make this an entire just one push. We do see that the response from RGB is to send his Titans in and assist as well. But it looks like it's just a Titan war so far here. A couple of Perseus coming to range for Literal. And here comes the main fight. They are slowly moving in, and now the dam has broken. All the units are being given the command to just go for it. There's a lot of Harbingers here. They're very adept at dealing with Team 1 or T2 spam. T3, a little bit more difficult, but Team 1s and T2 specifically. Bombers going after the sniper bots. They do kill off one of them, and the sniper bots are going to be the main target for XBOCT for taking out. But most of the forces from Literal have now been dealt with, and now these Harbingers can primarily focus on this force from Spectre Slave. T2 gunships also online for him, moving in to assist. There's not a lot of AA nearby, a couple of T3 Transcender SAM sites nearby, but not too much. They are dealing with those weaker Voltus very quickly, though. But there's a lot of firepower coming out from the Team 1's units, but it's slowly being whittled away. Of course, the Ilshis are the main unit in this army, and I feel like Spectre Slave's really wishing he had some Optims right about now, but he has sniper bots and shields, so that's better than nothing. We do see more Zui and some more bricks inbound here now from Sorcery to assist, but there's so many T3 units still online, a couple of Parashields as well. This isn't going to go Team 1's way. We do see in the south, though, that force with that Colossus is mounting and is pushing in on the southern side for XBOCT. He's dealing with an attack on two fronts, essentially, and has to constantly split his focus, which, of course, does eat his APM very quickly. We do see some scouting going on here for Team 2's Airplay of Unique, getting a nice little view on the side of the map. Looks like a Summoner, not building, but gating in some SACUs is on the way here for Sorcery. He's getting his eco up, trying to catch up to his teammates in that regard. Literal, of course, sitting at 500 mass per second. Team 1 at 1.3k mass in total, about 200 or so mass more than Team 1. Obviously, it's roughly, it's not an exact amount because I don't see the other two numbers. But 1.3 versus 1.1, it's definitely an estimate. So at least 150, I would usually guess. Now we see some Autumns emerging here from the eastern side for Spectre Slave. 30 minutes on the clock, and we've only seen actually two deaths, one on each team. A couple of cruisers now going after some T2 mexes over here, and it's really difficult for Spectre Slave or anybody on Team 1 to grab this quad mex position. Team 2 looks like they've reclaimed this one, but they haven't been able to push in on Literal's position, especially with the Colossus and decent amount of Asylums and Harmigers inbound. No Perseus, very surprisingly. We do see a couple of Obsidians as well, but I would love to see some UEF units down here for him, specifically because they're like the best, in my opinion, of course, T3 mainline unit in the game. They just deal so much damage. We do see Barricks are moving in. Harbingers trying to just slow down the approach, but it's only going to do so much. Of course, the one-on-one fight, the Brick will win the fight, but the Harbinger, of course, has the ability to reclaim, as well as it has a shield that can regen, as well as it moves the fastest in terms of T3 units. Those are the mainline units, so there is advantages and disadvantages. Bricks, of course, are designed to be tanky. They are brick walls for a reason, and the brick wall actually just pushes through this attack from Literal and actually gets in around the Colossus. And with this, we do see a Strat Bomber inbound, actually a couple of them, in fact, from Dominic going after that Colossus, trying to just shave off as many hit points as possible. No ASF have been called to this engagement from Team 1, which begs the question, where are they? It looks like they're moving in slowly, but there's, again, every Strat Bomber, that's 3,000 damage, and it's just really going to eat away at these hit points, essentially dump some mass on Team 2's doorstep. Of course, a lot of mass from Team 2 was killed off, but at this point, that's a mass dump. And that's going to Team 2 pretty much no matter what. But now we're seeing another attack outbound from Literal, trying to, again, just constantly poke and prod and distract and annoy and be very annoying to deal with for Team 2. This is the third attack. It's not necessarily on a different front, but just, you know, they have the southern front. Let's say this one right here in the middle and the one in the north. The Strat Bombers easily take out the shields surrounding those units or protecting those units. T1 Bombers are inbound, going to get ripped apart by some flat cannons. I don't think they even drop bombs, unfortunately. Strat Bombers turn back around. ASFs are moving in. Team 2, where are your ASFs? Unique, you need to call them in immediately. They are inbound for those Strat Bombers. Strat Bombers actually just going to go back home at this point. They're not willing to risk that fight, and we do see those ASF are going to move in. The ones from Spectre Slave are going to be eaten alive. Oh, no. They turn just barely, not enough. Oh, it's barely too much, I have to say. One Strat Bomber dies. He could have saved that Strat Bomber had they kept going west. Unfortunate, but at least the losses weren't as grave as they could have been. Orange has a bunch of strats, says Sorcery. You bunch being 3. No, Spectre Slave's like, yeah. Chicken says Legend Lord. Looks like Chicken is now online for Team 1 Spectre Slave. I haven't seen any experimentals yet for Team 2. Oh, excuse me, there is one. It's a Fat Boy outbound from RGB. I don't see anything else outbound from Team 2. But we should see something soon with that wreck going to be reclaimed here pretty shortly by XBOCT. And it looks like possibly maybe RGB is going to get maybe a portion of that, but probably not. He doesn't have any engineers nearby. But another attack inbound from Spectre Slave, just constantly throwing units to front line. We've seen where this strategy where units are constantly sent in just makes it very difficult later on in the match to really break through the defenses. Of course, more PD is going to be built, more shields are going to be built to defend. Doesn't look like there's really any effort right now for XBOCT to do that, but I wouldn't be surprised if he just sends some engineers on just a line of PDs here pretty shortly. Looks like RGB is still focusing on producing those cruisers, but they've done a decent job in just being, again, annoying. One of the best things to do in this game, which is, hey, opponent, be distracted by this thing for 2 minutes. Hey, opponent over here at the same time, be distracted by this thing for like 3 minutes. And the APM goes down. You're able to focus a lot better, and then it's kind of just not necessarily a guaranteed win, but a better situation here for that one player that just likes to do a lot of distractions. A couple of the spearheads get destroyed by those missiles. Of course, the TMD on board those cruisers is enough to deal with those missiles, and now the attack is still mounting. Lots of Zuis in the mix, but we do see a decent amount of Yenzi and a couple of Authens as well. Looks like XBOCT doesn't really have a lot of PD online, but now there's a Fat Boy over here, and that's not really going to help the scenario here for Spectre Slave to punch through. He's sending so many forces over here, and his Chicken as well. I feel like this is just going to be a consistent mass dumping, ever so slightly, of course, as the bodies do pile up. But I feel like this is not really worth it sending this many forces in. Yeah, it kills off a couple of mexes maybe, and a couple of PD emplacements, but it's not going to be that much damaging. We do see that the Fat Boy is doing a little bit of friendly fire against XBOCT currently, but that's just because some units are running over some nearby structures. We do see that the Galactic Colossus is almost done in the engine here. Oh, that's so mean. He used the Yenzine to kill off. He used the Yenzine and put the engine in the position to be able to use the Fat Boy to kill off some engineers. That's how you phrase that, if I could phrase it correctly, because I am apparently bad at English when I do cast. I talk normally, I swear, most of my life outside of casting and YouTubing and whatnot, but for some reason when I cast games, my brain just goes to mush, and I just can't form sentences at all. ASF building here behind the mainline forces for Spectral Slave on the ground. Fat Boy is falling back, trying to pepper that chicken and trying to give it some nice seasoning, but unfortunately, I mean, there's only one. Strat Bombers are inbound, though. I don't think this is smart. ASF are moving into intercept. Oh, and a couple of bombs are dropped, but I don't know if it was worth it. That's 1,000 mass, of course, per Strat Bomber, and that's, I think, 6,000 or so mass at a minimum. The Team 1 can easily scoop up. Definitely wasn't worth the damage. I mean, obviously, it does kind of put the chicken, not necessarily out of commission, but on hold. But I just don't know if that mass, quote-unquote, gift was worth it. Could have killed Nuke, says Legend Lore. Is there a Nuke on Team 1 side of the map that I don't see? He said, oh, yeah, right there. He could have killed Nuke. I mean, he possibly could have, but that's a decent amount of shielding. It would have been a couple of passes at least. He's probably talking about those Strat Bombers that went after that chicken. But Team 1 does have a nuke, and it is loaded currently, and it's currently working on its second. I don't see a lot of SMDs for Team 2. One of them about to load. This one over here is 2/3 the way loading. You see a couple of experimentals built at the same time. Large group of forces once again for Literal just crushing Team 2's forces on the southwestern side. And Team 2 sitting at 1.3k mass income. Team 1 at 1.8k mass income. So at least 400 mass more for Team 1 than Team 2. And that's going to start being a lot of uphill battles here for Team 2. They need a bigger ticket item to really fight back against Team 1. And yeah, Fat Boys, it's nice, but I don't think that many of Fat Boys is really going to do anything in the long, or at least in the short term. Group of gunships over here for Unique, though. That's very effective. We do see a second Fat Boy has been built, though, and transferred over to XBOCT. And now with that, looks like he's going to start forcing back Spectral Slave on the ground side of things. And maybe that will distract Team 1 long enough to give Team 2 an opening somewhere else, but don't know at this point. We do see Literal is at 800 mass per second, and he's not even the one building the nuke. Sorcery is, and he's going for, of course, Rasboys, and his second nuke is about half done. He still hasn't given it any orders to launch yet. There is an SMD here, still isn't loaded though. This one that we noticed a couple of seconds ago for Dominic is now loaded, and this one for Unique is loaded. So there's a lot of SMD coverage, but of course that can all go away with the incoming Colossus once again from Literal. There's been some PD that have been built in the interim to protect. They are tickle cannons, but it's something. It's better than nothing. They can try to blitz down all of the shields. Looks like that's the main target for all of those. Cerberus are going after all of the parashields / asylums for Literal. But there's really nothing on the ground. There are some gunships inbound, though, and the ASFs are waiting. They're just waiting to be called in to assist. And Team 1's ASFs are back in the north, so this is a perfect time to go for it. There's not really a lot of AA in the mix. A couple of bricks being grabbed by that Colossus. The PD line is down. There's still a couple of Harbingers. Gunships are inbound. There's a decent amount of flak, but I don't know if they're going to target the Colossus or the flak first. Looks like they're targeting the Colossus first. They are dropping those hit points quite quickly, though. And the ASF have not been called in. Oh, actually, look, they have been called in. And Team 2's ASF nearby are actually not nearby. They've actually left. More gunships being pulled in to assist, though. And gunships are falling back. There's a lot of flak, but now there's a Colossus hit for Team 2. And with that, that will probably be enough for Team 2 to win that land fight. And Team 1 starting to have some sort of air fight here with Team 2's Unique. And there are some SAM sites nearby. It looks like the gunships will be taken out, though. And the Colossus from Team 1's Literal will be gone. Looks like the ASF fight does happen. Team 2 gets a huge engagement on Team 1's main force from Akira. Looks like the ASF fall back as well. trying to draw in their attention and get them underneath that SAM coverage. And with that, of course, the wreck will be reclaimed once again by Team 2. There's also a second Colossus there for Dominic. There's 2 GCs over here down in the south. A small attack right down the middle here from RGB, just going after what they can. I don't know how much that's going to do. Looks like it didn't really go anywhere, unfortunately for them. Third Fat Boy being added to the mix here on the... Actually, no, sorry, third Fat Boy. That is a GC, not a Fat Boy. I just saw the little circle icon there. There are 2 chickens for Team 1. Those are those mobile artillery units from the Fat Boys need to fall back. Third Fat Boy is now finished. Fourth one is almost done. And RGB and XBOCT are just building Fat Boys at this point. Satellite has been started as well for RGB. That's how he's going to fight back against Team 1's nuke, it looks like. The nuke almost is loaded a second time. T3 artillery has been started. It is the Emissary, the best one in the game. Chicken is half built as well here in the east. Was that a nuke? That is a nuke, so that's the second nuke for Team 1. We do see an artillery already online for Literal. He had to spend that mass somehow. Yeah, he went for the Duke. I feel like he could have gone for the Emissary, but kind of a little partial to the Emissary. That chicken is almost peppered to death. It's almost over seasoned. This Colossus is still online, but barely. Fat Boy is continuing to just rip into everything on Spectre's side of the engagement. The chicken is almost dead, sub 4,000, almost 4,000 hit points. The Colossus will go down, but that chicken is out of the fight for a while. And at this point, this chicken will have to fall back. It did its job. It got the kill on the Colossus, but with the Fat Boys moving in and moving back and forth, it's really not the best engagement for Team 1. And now that there's a third one back here, probably will be donated over to XBOCT. That satellite is half built already for RGB. Team 2 still building Fat Boys down here. And artillery has been about to be started here for Team 2, but I feel like some shields need to be built first, because they really don't have anything to fight back against Team 1's artillery. And the artillery is landing on the air grid, taking out some kennels. That's going to hurt some of the build power. Make I, says RGB. Scout for Artie. There's been a lot of communication here from Team 2, specifically, obviously, Legend Lord, because he's dead and able to assist. But players constantly talking to one another. I do love to see it. Obviously, there are some games where you're in Discord or whatever, and you don't really need to text out what you want to talk about, which is very beneficial because you don't have to spend the time to do it. But there is something nice about being able to read what's going on. We do see some Solaces are inbound going after those cruisers, and they immediately just focus on that sub and do kill off a cruiser as well. But a lot of those bombers have been destroyed. The T2 naval headquarters was also ripped to shreds, so that's no longer existing here for RGB. But, you know, it did do a lot of annoyance and did do some damage to some air forces, so it's better than nothing. Another group is inbound, same group, just another pass. And it looks like they will kill most of them off. Looks like that they get the distribute orders, and they did. They got all 3 of them, but all 3 of the bombers were also killed off, so a nice little trade there. Artillery landing in on the air grid here for Unique. Some shots are missing, some shots are landing, but a couple of pigeons and facilities are already offline. Satellite is ready to go, and it's moving across the map. If I can find it. Not, it's already over there, I would presume. I don't see it. Where is it? It's one of those things where it's in front of my face and I don't see it. Oh, no, it's right there. Okay, it was just hiding over here. And it is moving in most likely for the nuke. And now the Fat Boys continuing to pressure in, but now we see a Monkey Lord going after the Fat Boys. They want the kill. They can sense blood in the water. The Monkey Lord does take off the shields, but it's not enough. The assisting forces for Team 2's XBOCT and a couple of engineers, because why not include them in the mix, are able to shove that Monkey Lord away. Another Fat Boy over here. Another Fat Boy over here. It's getting very concerning with the Fat Boys here. They're starting to get critical mass territory for Team 2. It's starting to be very dangerous how many of them building up over there. Maybe Team 2 will handle it. Maybe they won't. Looks like there was a GC fight over here. Team 2's Orange to Color Orange player of Dominic still has 1 GC alive, going after a T3 Mex. And it's getting some nice veterancy here. That's 27 mass a second that Literal will be losing, but he's still producing over 800 mass per second. Tons of Flying Eyes air scouts over here. Don't know what they're doing over there, but they're doing something. Artillery, not really as effective as it used to be. A lot of shields have been built to counteract it. Emissary being built by Dominic. How's the one being built by Team 1's Akira? Well, this one's in the green, so it might be built roughly at the same time. And again, Team 1 does have two nuke launchers, about to have 3 nukes loaded. You need to phrase that because there is a difference between having 3 nukes and 3 nuke silos with each having a nuke. Because you can only fire 1 at a time out of a silo versus firing 3 at a time when you have 3 silos. But the Soothsayer T3 perimeter monitoring system is going down. Team 1 is going to lose a lot of intel that they're getting. They also had an Omni over here, so they doubled up on the intel. But that is now dead and gone. Again, 3 Fat Boys over here. 4th one moving into range, and 5th one is done. Yeah, that's just Fat Boy Bonanza over here. I feel like I should say, what would you do for a Klondike bar? But that's the wrong ice cream sandwich. Which, don't get me wrong, I like Klondike bars. The only thing I don't like about them is immediately when you bite into them, it just disintegrates. So you just got to eat it very, very quickly. They're good. It's good ice cream. I wish the chocolate that, that encases the ice cream is a little bit thicker. It's not as weak, but it's still good. But it's just one of those things where I kind of prefer. Not Fat Boys are good. I like Fat Boys, but like the ice cream sandwiches. But I don't know. It's hard because both sandwiches are good, but it's really hard to just pick one. Nuke is inbound from Team 1 Spectre Slave, nuking the Reclaim and / the Fat Boys. It might not get the Fat Boys because they are trundling away, but it's definitely going to get the Reclaim, at least some of it. Decent amount of it has already been scooped up, though. Nuke is going to land, and maybe the shields will be singed. Possibly not at that range, though. Kaboom! First nuke does land. 20 mass remaining on that GC. 20. Not 200, not 2,000, not 20,000. 20 mass for that that giant Reclaim wreck. And the mass killed only not even 3,000 mass. That was, I think it cost more to build the nuke than it did to fire it and have it kill stuff off, I think. I don't know the exact totals off the top of my head, but I would actually, I could actually go see how much it costs. The missile costs 12,000 mass. So yeah, definitely not worth the cost for the nuke. But like I said, there were 4 Fat Boys over here. And Team 1 Spectre Slave forces are pushed onto the edge of the map. He has 3 chickens and building some T2 artillery to try to slow Team 2's approach. There are some Strat Bombers inbound, though, but there's a decent amount of A8 nearby. And, of course, a lot of shields surrounding them. SMD down, says Literal. And that SMD for Dominic is down. Of course, there was an SMD over here somewhere, but it might have also been taken offline. Looks like the emissary has been completed. Strat Bombers go in. The shield is down. A little bit of the hole has been taken out, but it's not too bad. The Strat Bombers try to spin around and get another launching of their payloads, but I don't think it's going to happen. Fat Boy is in full retreat. There are chickens inbound, and that Fat Boy is way too far forward. And there are 4 chickens over here, and that is a dead Fat Boy. That Fat Boy is going nowhere fast. I mean, he is a Fat Boy, so kind of per their dealio. Nuke is going to launch, but the SMD is over here, and I think the nuke silo might clip the SMD range. I do see that the artillery is landing not near that SMD, though. Of course, our 2 Dukes plus actually the emissary has been built. Looks like another one is being built as we speak. So 3 artillery pieces and 2 nukes for Team 1 versus Team 2's Mavor that's coming online here in a while. They do have 1 satellite, and they are building an artillery, but it's going to be a while before they do build it. Dominic is being targeted, and that SMD is going to be able to shoot down that nuke. Does Team 1 fire the other nuke that is loaded? There's 2 more in there, and there's a half one in there. We do see Fat Boy over here with a Colossus escort. We do see in the east, again, the number of Fat Boys has not changed with an additional one coming in. There are 5 Fat Boys online in the east. Or Team 2, that's a lot of mass you're building or pumping into those units. We do see a couple of Harbingers trying to distract all these chickens, and at the same time, 1 Fat Boy is in range. If they could get all 4 of them, or even 5, but at least 4 of them in range, those would be dead chickens very, very quickly. We do see that, of course, this might be a nice little thumbnail. These Fat Boys peppering, not prepping. Well, they technically are prepping their chicken to be eaten, but They are peppering them with shots. You have to season your chicken. It's very important. You don't want unseasoned chicken. It's all dry. Or you don't want dry chicken. And seasoned chicken, of course, is better than just having plain chicken. We do see PD trying to be hastily built as fast as possible. Shields as well, but there's so many Harbingers here. I don't think it's going to matter. All these fat boys are in range. Those chickens are running for their lives. Artillery still raining in from Team 1. Team 2 has not been able to counteract it yet. The shields are too strong just for one satellite. Crab has now been starting to hit for sorcery. He has another nuke loaded, so that's 2. We do see that this nuke launcher has now loaded on. That's a 3rd nuke. So Team 1 has had lots of nukes to play with, but hasn't really been successful with a good nuke. They've had one nuke land, which didn't really do a lot of damage, and the other one was shot down. We do see that, that spy plane protects, looks like the comm of Dominic. Oh, that's definitely worth the cost of a spy plane. It's just negating a shot, and all of these mass fabs are gone for Dominic. Unfortunately, large air staging facility. Nuke is outbound once again. Where is it going? It's going for the fat boys that are not moving. The fat boys have got to move, and it looks like the chickens are actually might press the fat boys, pushing them southward, and keeping them in this position. But that nuke is inbound. That nuke is going to land, and that is not good for Team 2's firepower on the front lines. Goofy fat boy spam. There it goes. Kaboom! Kills off 3 fat boys and all of their wrecks. And that nuke kills off 53,000 mass. Definitely redeemed with that second nuke. And that fat boy is gone now. We do see that Team 2 has no fat boys besides this one remaining. Don't think... Oh, there's another one back here. The Mavor is still in the red. It's about to tick over into the yellow, though, but they have a long way to go. 49 minutes on the clock. This is not looking good for Team 2, so if you're rooting for Team 2, I apologize. They're not feeling too well. Team 1 is doing very well. 2 artilleries soon. A 3rd artillery here for Literal. We do see a fat boy protecting his commander. Looks like they're shooting at something down here from Team 2. Fat boy down here escorting that Colossus. The Fat Boy is not being escorted. It is doing the escorting. SMD is offline. And with that, there's a backup SMD that has 4 loaded down here. Strap Bomber is being shot down by that AA. And we do see some restorers now. But at this point, it's not looking good. The writing's not completely on the wall yet. Team 2 can come back. And a group of ASFs get shot out of the sky as they're moving in to protect. Strap Bomber still not able to puncture the shields. So that will be fine. But now we see the artillery focusing on XBOCT and RGB. Does Team 1 know about the Mavor being built? No, they don't. They just know that there's a base here. They don't know anything's here. They assume these... obviously, they know there's a satellite. They just don't know where it is. Or, where the satellite location is, where the station is, if I can talk correctly. But a couple of Harbingers against 5 chickens is not going to go very well. There is a Colossus wreck as well down here. That was killed off. Another Colossus down here, moving in from the west. Or from the east, but there's a fat boy here. There's a crab over there. That Colossus is going nowhere. Lots of Team 1 bomber spam. There's a couple of lightning tanks nearby as well. They're going to be able to shoot down some of them, but not stop all of them. And there is some, of course, flak on board those chickens, but they can only do so much damage. Bombers are inbound. I don't know which one they're going for. They're just going for one of them, it looks like. And ASFs come in and clean up the rest of them. So some damage was done. They don't kill off a chicken, unfortunately, for Team 2, but 50 minutes on the clock with multiple artillery pieces online. Team 2 not even having one. They are building a Mavor. They are still building a Mavor, but they're being bombarded as we speak. The southern line attacked once again. That Colossus is killed again. That's what, the 4th or something Colossus donated by Literal, but when you're producing 900 mass, almost double than any other player on your opponent's side of the map, and almost triple on your side of the map, you are leading the game, of course, in the mass generation. But now 3 artilleries online. Of course, 1 is an emissary. Love to see that there are 5 artillery pieces, 2 nukes, and a partridge in the pear tree. The Fat Boy is just going to push in. I think XBOCT sees the writing on the wall. There's really not a lot that Team 2 can do against that firepower. If the Mavor was done, it would be a different story, but it's not being built very quickly. And I don't think Team 2 has the time to wait for that artillery to be finished. And now we see that it's going after everything on Team 2 side of the map. The artillery still isn't done here for Unique. I think at this point I am going to speed it up, probably just to 1. 1 is probably a good speed. I think anything more than that I'd miss. I would probably miss something. I still miss stuff all the time, but now there is 6 chickens over here. And Sorcery's like, you can't see me. I'm cloaked and I have a laser and you can't see me. No. And of course Nuke is not really being hyper-focused. Another artillery is going to be built. We have a lot of transports hanging out next to it, though, just in case. We do see that Fat Boy pushing in. And we do see some Rambo preset commanders from the Aeon variety moving in against this group of forces. Still not really... There's not really a lot of hyper-focusation on the air grid here for Team 2 from all of this artillery. I mean, there's 5 artillery pieces, and they haven't cracked every shield yet, which is very interesting. Of course, the accuracy is a little bit left to be desired, but the artillery now is gone. That was being built by Team 2's Unique. The only hope for Team 2 is this Mavor, but like I said, 53 minutes. Team 1 has 5 artillery pieces. SMD is going to go down, possibly, maybe, possibly. Nope, not in this run. Not enough strat bombers in that strat bombing rush, or strat bombing run. That's the word I want. Shield heavy being built by Literal. He has the advanced range on his commander as well. Nuke is just being pinged, saying you have 2 nukes loaded, and artillery is the main focus now. Sorcery wants a piece of that action. There'll be 6 artillery pieces online, and is that a satellite and a satellite? Because why not? Why not have 1? Why not have 8 of them or 20 of them? Another group of strat bombers being built up here for Akira. And in the north, just the chicken horde is just hanging out over here. They've been peppered a decent amount, so they're nice and seasoned. Nuke is outbound. It's going to land on the air grid, and I think it's been edged over enough. Yeah, well, the SMD's gone, so that is definitely edged over enough. And with that, Team 2, again, like I said, the only hope is the Mavor, but it's not being built in any sort of speed. I mean, a couple of minutes, and it's hardly gone up a couple of percentage points. There are some bricks over here being bombarded by strat bombers. 54 minutes on the clock. And I think I'm going to go to +2. There goes the nuke. It might actually get Unique's commander. There it goes. And it does grab him. Boom! Oh, that's a great nuke here from Sorcery. Gets a kill with it. Kills off 102,000 mass with 1 nuke. Love to see it. Love to see that another nuke is going to land at Dominique's position. That's going to be a successful landing. There is an SMD over here, and it isn't loaded, but it is there. And it looks like now the artillery is raining in on XBOCT and RGB's position with that Mavor being built. And it looks like Team 1, of course, has now spotted it. They haven't spotted it already. There goes the Mavor. It's gone. There's no hope of getting that back. Nuke glance. Kaboom! Kills off that group of structures here for Team 2's Dominic. Good have saved 45 minutes, says Legend Lore. I mean, he didn't know the outcome at the beginning of the game. I feel like that's kind of a little bit too... Like, there's no way he could have known. We do see that team... Actually, no, that's just a nuke that went off. Okay, that's a kaboom. We have some SSUs being blown up as well. When you have a player do nothing for first 20 minutes, hard to win. I mean, it is difficult. I will agree with him, but I don't know if nothing would be the word that I would use. Looks like Unique's a little bit annoyed with him as well, because they don't feel like he did as much as he possibly could have, though. And the artillery is just constantly raining in. I mean, he said they gave him some Colossus Rex, which I don't... I mean, yeah, but that was later on, though. I don't know if that was that impactful. You'll have... if anybody will let me know down in the comments if it really was. But I feel like those Colossus came out well into like 30 minutes, like 35 minutes, even 40 minutes. And at that point, Team 1 was already dominating economically. I mean, Team 1 also was donating mass down here as well, so it wasn't that much of a one-sided affair. RGB being targeted by artillery. And it is a 4v3 game. Will everybody else on Team 2 just evac? We do see Sorcery wants in on the action. XBOCT control Ks, and he is in here leaving... Actually, I was going to say leaving Dominic and RGB alone. But Dominic has control K'd as well, and it does leave RGB, the last player on Team 2. He's being lasered and now artillery to death. Let's speed this up. Will the key move is the question. Actually, will he be killed off by sorcery? That'd be very funny if he was. Looks like RGB does recall from the game. He's like, nah, I'm good. See you, bye. And Team 1 wins the game at 57 minutes and 58 seconds on the clock. That is the match here, folks. Let me know down in the comments if you were right or wrong about your pick on who won this game. Of course, if you haven't done so already, like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so very much for watching to the end of the video. I really do appreciate it. Again, thank you so much. And I will see all of you in the next one. And especially for the 400th cast, which will be released on Monday, the 19th of August. I think it's the 19th. No, it probably is. Anyway, see you all in the next one.